25 million. This is how many unsafe abortions that occur each year. Of those, approximately 8.9% result in maternal death. This displays how women want to have an abortion so bad that they are willing to sacrifice their own life in order to receive one under unsafe conditions. By abortions being banned, there would be more women in the world seeking abortions that are not safe, which will result in more harm to women. I've always been curious about the debate of abortion. I'm interested in this topic because of the fact that I am a woman, and if a ban were to occur, it would possibly have an effect on me. Also, I've researched this topic thoroughly and I've read many scholarly articles about women's right to abortion. The main problem here is that there isn't anything that protects women's right to abortion. Therefore, the Wisconsin State Legislature should pass a bill that protects these rights in order to ensure the safety of women. An abortion ban would be detrimental for women and their right to make decisions about their body. To begin, illegal abortions impact women's mental health negatively. According to Antonia Biggs, who has a PhD in social psychology, women are more prone to have a mental health issue when they don't have access to an abortion. For example, Biggs says that women who desire to have an abortion but are instead forced to carry their pregnancy to term, they are more likely to show signs of depression, such as self-esteem, extreme sadness, and isolation from others. As a result, women's mental health is negatively impacted when they aren't allowed to have an abortion. Furthermore, according to an article by Deborah Nelson and Stephen Lepore, who are both professors of public health, they explained that women who are victims of sexual abuse, such as rape or incest, they tend to be the ones who experience more mental health issues, especially when they aren't allowed to terminate their pregnancy. In other words, Nelson and Lepore's point is that when abortion rights are taken away from women who experience traumatic events like sexual abuse, they are more susceptible to signs of poor mental health. Some symptoms of poor mental health that pregnant, sexually abused women report that they've experienced include depression, confusion, as well as thoughts of suicide. In addition, Nelson and Lepore created a study that interviewed sexually abused women. They asked women these questions that regarded abortion and mental health. For example, they asked them if they felt more depressed after being denied the right to an abortion. Their results showed that women were almost 2 times as likely to become depressed if they were sexually abused and denied the right to an abortion. Nelson and Lepore concluded that sexual abuse, abortion, and mental health are all connected. In addition, an abortion ban will cause more unsafe abortions to occur. According to the World Health Organization, an unsafe abortion is a procedure for terminating an unwanted pregnancy either by persons lacking the necessary skills or in an environment lacking the minimal medical standards, or both. In addition, Adna da Silva, a master's student at the University of Sao Paulo School of Medicine, says that unsafe abortions are more likely to occur in places where access to abortion is restricted. For example, she explains that even though developing countries have less access to abortions, every country that makes abortions illegal has a much higher risk of unsafe abortion conditions for women to occur. This could mean that women could have an unsafe abortion via inflicting pain on themselves by trying to have one self-inflicted, or by having an individual who isn't trained in the medical field perform the procedure themselves. Furthermore, in an academic journal from the Balkan Medical Journal by Emil Luisi, a survey was conducted that asked medical students from Marmara University about abortions. She asked them a series of questions where they could only respond with agree, neutral, or disagree. One question specifically asked the students if they thought that abortion bans would increase the unhealthy abortions. Of the 328 respondents, approximately 86.1% said that they agree. Therefore, as you can see, by banning the right to an abortion, it will only increase the amount of unsafe abortions. Lastly, an abortion ban will cause an increase in maternal harm. According to Da Silva, illegal abortions cause women to inflict harm on themselves. For example, in a case study that was constructed by Da Silva, a 16-year-old woman from Brazil was pregnant and didn't have access to an abortion. she decided to have a self-induced abortion by inserting a foreign object into her vagina. This caused her to go into septic shock and have an emergency surgery in order to remove that foreign object. Therefore, this young woman was willing to put herself in danger to have an abortion rather than just have the child. In addition, according to a journal from the European Journal of Contraceptive and Reproductive Health Care by Nino Berzulli, women are willing to go to extreme measures if they are denied access to an abortion when they have an unwanted pregnancy. In other words, women will put their lives in risk in order to get rid of this pregnancy. According to a case report by Berzulli, a 34-year-old woman found out that she was pregnant unintentionally. She didn't have access to an abortion, therefore she decided to administer herself drugs that were supposed to terminate her pregnancy. A few days later, she felt very sick and noticed that she had some vaginal bleeding. When she went to the hospitals, the doctors immediately rushed her to the operating room where she had emergency surgery. They found out that she was in septic shock, and it wasn't even 15 hours after she was admitted that she passed away due to massive amounts of hemorrhaging and cardiac arrest. This case shows how women are willing to put their own lives in jeopardy in order to not have a child. Now that I've addressed the problem of banning abortion rights for women, let's look at what we can do in order to protect women and their right to make a decision for their own body. Citizens can do a few things that could help influence the Wisconsin State Legislature to consider passing a bill that protects women's right to abortion. For starters, citizens could contact the Wisconsin State Legislature. According to Robert Geyer, who has a license to practice law, citizens can lobby or influence a state legislature by writing a letter, calling their office, or sending an email. He says that these are the most influential ways that citizens could influence a state legislature to pass a desired bill. Also, Geyer says that if you want to persuade a state legislature, you have to address the importance of the issue as well as how it will affect everybody. Therefore, by contacting the Wisconsin State Legislature in any of these three ways, it could potentially help sway them into passing a bill that protects women's right to abortion in case of an abortion ban. Next, citizens could also help by funding organizations like Planned Parenthood in order to ensure that women get the necessary information that they need. Planned Parenthood organizations help women in numerous ways. For one, they help women have access to contraceptives. According to obstetric nurse from Monadnock Community Hospital, Samantha Burstein says that nonprofit organizations like Planned Parenthood provides contraceptives such as birth control and condoms, which help women prevent unwanted pregnancies. Also, Planned Parenthood organization allows women to get more information about sexual health care. For example, according to the Christian Medical Fellowship, Philippa Taylor, she says that it is critical for women to talk about their options with a medical professional. Taylor expresses in her article that organizations like Planned Parenthood provide women with counselors that will help them know more about their options in regards to their pregnancy. Also, a counselor is able to give women advice as well as more information about abortions, birth control, and family planning. All in all, by donating to these types of organizations, it will help keep them open, which will also prevent unwanted pregnancies, as well as reduce the amount of unsafe abortions. In closing, women's right to abortion needs protection. Right now, if a ban were to go into effect, numerous women would experience a negative impact on their mental health, have an increased risk of unsafe abortions, and have a greater chance of maternal harm. Therefore, a bill should be passed by the Wisconsin State Legislature that protects women's right to abortion in order to provide women with the safety that they need. Above all, if we don't act upon the abortion problem, women and their body will continue to suffer and might even suffer even more harmful circumstances.